What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Los Wise Guys podcast. I am your host, Papa Sunkiller Dan, accompanied by, like I always call you when I'm hosting, the Lord Emperor Disco. How you doing, this guy?
That's my nickname, the Lord Emperor Disco.
Yep.
You know how I do. A very important person over here, Lord Emperor over these townships and stuff.
As you should.
No,
As you
no.
should. Now I'm
It's
gonna
a
call
hard
you out.
job.
I'm gonna call you out real quick. While we were doing a little intro video, I can still see your image. Since I'm the one hosting, and man, you got that bite in real quick, and I'm proud of you.
I did not. Let me preface. I did not eat this morning. I've been trying like this fast, and so I'm like. And then
Yeah.
you hit me up today. I was like, "Oh shoot,
yeah.
I forgot the podcast." I was like, "Let me finish this up and let me smash it down real quick."
I mean, that was impressive because it wasn't a little bite, and I'm glad I got to see it. I'm glad.
Just
I'm
for
glad I got
you.
to witness it. I
Just for
appreciate that.
you. But
Now I know all the stuff that Eslam gets to see that he never tells us about, but I'm gonna bring it
that
to light.
Yep.
Oh man.
The truth comes out.
Oh, 100%. But before we get into the main topic, which, as you can see, looking at the bottom of the screen, we're going to be talking about The Walking Dead, the ones who live. We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping, as I like to call it. We're gonna plug some stuff out there. For example, our website. Be sure to check all our stuff out at loswiseguys.com. You can watch old episodes, podcasts. You can check out what's going on the LWG FEGL S4. It is season 4, right? Yeah, season 4 now.
Yeah.
Man, look at that thing. We saw it as a baby, and it just grew. It just grew.
Yeah, it just gets
We've been doing
better
this
every year.
podcast for years, many years now.
Honestly, and I came in halfway, and I feel like we've still been doing forever.
Yeah, man, it's been going. It's been going. And for those of you that follow us, that leave and come back or do what you have, thank you. Tell more people. We've been doing this for years. We need more fans.
Yep.
We appreciate it. But as always, not only can you do that, you can always check us out at our social media handles, which you can see right there on the bottom, LWG_Eslam, who's not here. We kicked him out the country, Emperor.disco, and LWG_Dan Rosado. Follow us and all this stuff. Interact with us everywhere. I'm sure we'll interact back.
Quick little side note about Eslam. He told us last episode he was going on vacation.
Yeah.
And he told us where.
Yeah.
But somehow along this week, these 2-week bye weeks, I forgot. And I got it in my head that he was going to France. And so when I saw him leaving, I was like, oh, yeah, don't forget to twerk in front of the
Don't tell me where.
else.
Yeah, but keep going. I want to guess.
I said I was under the impression he was going to France.
Yeah.
I don't know how. But I was like, if you got to record a video twerking in front of the Louvre or Paris didn't happen. And then he just liked it and laughed and whatever. And then I remembered randomly, like at 2 a.m., I was like, he's going. You want to guess?
Spain?
Yeah. He's going to Spain. So then I like 2 a.m. ADHD brain. I'm just like, shoot, I got to message him. I'm a freaking dumbass. Girl, scratch that last message.
The only thing that made me, because up until just now, I wasn't 100% sure, because I was like, shit, he's going somewhere. And the only thing I could think of was like, I'm pretty sure I told him to eat some paella. So it's probably Spain.
I don't even know where France came from. I was like, he's going to France.
It's Spain, France, it's Europe. They're close, actually. They're like
they're neighbors. They're neighbors. Yeah. But I just thought that was a little funny side note. My dumb ass.
No, it's fun. Hey, that's who we are. This is what you get. You get some silly bitches on the show.
Sir.
And if you like watching us silly bitches, yeah, exactly. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment below. As always, interact with us. We're going to go ahead. We're going to interact with you. If you're going to talk shit, personally, I'm just going to go on there and be like, thank you for interacting and watching. Because that's a thing. I don't give a
talk all the shit, because sometimes we deserve it. So just let us know. Put us in our place.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's all the housekeeping we got out there. You know what to do, where to find us, how to find us. And, of course, right here on twitch.tv/Los Wise Guys. Make sure to go on there. You can watch live and interact with us. Rudy used to be on the podcast. He does it quite a bit. Henry's always in here getting a birthday shout out. Jack, co-worker of mine, he hops in there. We haven't had Nando in a while, but he would come on too. So we have a couple people that would come by, say what's up, have a conversation. Hell, sometimes all those people, with the exception of Jack, has been on an episode or two.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so fun. It's so fun having the chat, like just chime in to just call us out or just add layers to it. Because sometimes, they're all up into the conversation too. And it's so much fun. It's so fruitful.
Absolutely.
It's like bouncing off each other. I love it.
And with that being said, if anybody who's checking this out has watched The Walking Dead, has read The Walking Dead comics, listened to any of the podcasts, or has watched any of the spinoffs, you're going to interact with us today. Today, though, we are talking about The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, episode.
Mhm.
So this
First episode impressions, just a little intro to this new season. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So I mean, in true Los Wise Guys fashion, anytime we review a show, we review a movie. Usually, you and Eslam go first. You have an opinion, and I come out with the complete opposite. So, Disco, please
I'll
start.
go first.
Yeah.
So my first impression of this was I really didn't know how to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I watch a lot of shows, so I've seen all the other like past iterations. Like I watched the original to an extent. I fell off after Rick died. I think a lot of people did, but kudos to those that stayed. Because I heard that it was still pretty good. Um, but I also saw Daryl Dixon Walking Dead. I saw part of Dead City. I saw the anthology, and I saw all these different iterations of Walking Dead. One with the kids, I forgot what it's called. Um, but I just felt like they were lackluster. They're just riding off the Walking Dead name. Even the Daryl Dixon one, I was kind of like very disappointed with that one. I was like, you did my boy Daryl crazy. Side note, he went to France since we were talking about it. He was twerking in front of the Louvre.
Okay.
But so I saw all these
I,
different ones. Okay, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
go ahead.
You
I'll
want to
finish your thought.
chime
Finish
in
your
real
thought.
quick?
No,
Yeah.
my
So
I think, but you're good.
So like I was saying, like I saw all these different ones, and I was kind of like, oh man, Walking Dead's losing its flair, it's losing its flame, the spark is gone, because I was a huge Walking Dead fan. It changed my life. I like built my my paranoia on The Walking Dead. Like I have like all these paranoia go bags, bug out bags, and like food stored. I had bought a gun because I mean I'm sure that's not the best reason to get a gun, but like just in case zombies or anything crazy, aliens and all this stuff. It was just a huge part of my psyche at that point, and like. Like zombies are really going to come true, but I don't know. It was just fun to think about and prepare for. So I really love the Walking Dead series, the whole IP of The Walking Dead. Robert Kirkland,
Kirkman.
Kirkman. I always confuse him. I'm not good with names, but kudos to him. He made a series that really just like I feel like changed the foundation of our generation almost. And zombies became this huge thing. Not that he started it or anything, but like he kind of brought it back to life, I would say. And so I guess my real main point is this show brought me back in, and they like brought out the A class writers, the S tier, whatever you want to call it. But I kind of felt like the Dead City and Daryl Dixon was just writing off that those are good characters. Negan and Maggie and Daryl Dixon, of course, they all have their own badassness, their own right. You know. Their own vibe, their own energy, and it's just kick ass. They've grown so much. But this one actually really appealed to me. The way they executed the show, the plot, the writing, the character, the cast they chose. And so my first impression is, yeah, A plus, 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. You get to see Rick come back. The cast, just jumping into the cast a little, they had Leslie Ann Brandt, who I really liked her like New Zealand accent, and but she's also from Lucifer, so I kind of had that like rapport with her.
That's the South
And
African lady.
yeah, the partner lady, and of course I like Rick Grimes. I like the Michonne. They actually even had Locke from Lost. I was like, is that Locke? Oh damn! And I was like, I man, I just love seeing people like the badass people from my past, and they really did that up, and they did their thing with this one. So I highly recommend checking it out. This is only off the first episode, so I mean. Uh, I guess that kind of says a lot that I'm pretty hyped and I'm ready for Walking Dead to be back in my life. And even my wife said, I think I'm back on because I watched it with her and she was like, I'm very much interested. And I agree. I agree. All right. I'll pass the torch to you now.
Yeah.
Complete opposite of it. You're like, it's absolute shit. Oh, God.
I mean, I feel like this has been a running theme for me. I watch a show. I was bored out of my goddamn mind. I mean, my God.
That makes perfect sense.
I love The Walking Dead comic book. And that's where it ends. Like, it's just like, don't get me wrong. No, I'm sorry. The Telltale series as well. The video game series Walking Dead was a good one. Real quick, before I move forward and basically just say literally the opposite of what you're saying. France. The fact that Daryl went to France, I think is really cool. There was a Walking Dead spinoff many, many years ago. I want to say it was on Free Comic Book Day. God knows what year, where there was we get to see the zombie apocalypse happen in France. And it was cool because this one guy's trying to survive. And I think in the end, I don't know if he dies or what have you, but he kept on saying, I need to get back to Atlanta. I need to see my brother Rick. It's Rick's brother in France. Oh. And it was just a one-shot comic of this dude who's Rick's brother who's just trying to survive France and make it back to Atlanta. But how the fuck do you go to the other side of the world in this?
Yeah.
So it was an interesting thing. And that's why when you said France, I was like, okay, it's a cool nod. I like that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but
yeah,
it was cool though. I mean, in the sense that that the Daryl France one was just weird. They brought out one thing that I thought was cool is they brought out like a new type of zombie that had like acid skin. I thought that was kind of neat. I don't know how that happens, but and another thing that kind of threw me off, they were kind of like building a messiah type thing, like this kid that's gonna save everybody. And I was like, I don't know. They even was seeing the future. I was like, kind of losing it. Like that's kind of like supernatural. I didn't see. Yeah. I never saw The Walking Dead as supernatural. But
I mean, even this one, they had zombies that had fires burning inside of them, I think, or some shit.
Yeah,
what the fuck was that?
That was weird. I just assumed that they were on fire. They walked through fire, and it just like since they can't feel it, they were just burning. But yeah, they could be like fucking magma zombies.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. But yeah, but that's the thing. So what it all stems from with me, Walking Dead comic book. You've read some of it. Anybody who has read the book knows that the book and the show might as well be two different series. They're very, very different. So that's the thing. It's one of those things where for a lot of things I've been like, hey, I get it. You're doing an adaptation. You're changing it. If you change it for the better, I'm cool with it. The show in general, they didn't do that. And I get it. You have actors. I guess spoilers now, if that's the case. Carl died, right?
He did. He died. I think in the show he died too early. Or he just got shot. He did die because the actor left. I think
and that's exactly what my issue is. Because you have actors, you have contracts, you can't tell the correct story. Now, the whole thing with Robert Kirkman, if in the comic book, one of the things he put in there was like, hey, I love zombie movies. Night of the Walking Dead. I'm sorry, wow. Night of the Living Dead is like one of my favorite things, blah, blah. And I love that movie, though, the original. And he was just like, the only problem that I have with horror movies is that they end. I want to tell a story that doesn't end. I want to tell a story where something happens, but then what? And then what? And that's why the Walking Dead comic was so good. It starts off, they're outside of Atlanta. How do they survive? They go to Herschel's farm. Herschel's farm, you go to the prison. Oh my God, we meet the governor. We have to get out of the prison. We run into these other people. And it's just the story continues. And I was like, oh, this is so good because it's a zombie movie that never ends. I'm like, I fucking love that. Like you, I'm a huge fan of zombies. I love zombies. But so they made all these different changes. And the thing is, I forgot how many changes. So I'm watching this. First thing I see is when Rick shows up, he has two hands. Like, what the fuck is this? Rick lost a hand back when in the prison when he met the governor. Wait, no, he didn't. That didn't happen in this world. But what happens? They're gonna cut off the hand. It's like, hey, they're trying. I think it's the wrong hand, but okay, that's fine. We're gonna let it go. They're doing something. We're getting there. I was like,
they're trying to incorporate some of the old stuff.
Yeah. I was like, all right. And then it was that. And my thing with The Walking Dead, because I did watch the show. I want to say the first 2 seasons. I was really trying, man. I like to quit on stuff like within the first few minutes of the first episode, just because it was Walking Dead. I was like, let me go 2 seasons. And by the end of that second season, I was like, I'm done. I'm not watching this no more. But yeah, man, I had friends of mine who would keep tabs and tell me what's going on in the show, and I would just get upset. But Rick and Michonne had a relationship, huh?
Yeah, apparently they had kids and then a whole 9.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I didn't see that coming, but yeah, there was that. In the comic, he was dating Carol. Not I mean, fucking married. Not Carol. Andrea. He married Andrea.
I think she died like in the first year. Like,
yeah, exactly. It was just like, what the fuck? If I remember correctly, somebody told me she was dating the governor. I'm like, she never met the governor. No. But yeah, so
they took
it's like
huge liberties.
dude, when I tell you it's a completely different universe in every way possible. But yeah, at one point he even talked about Judith in this, and I was like, I had to ask you. I was going to ask you, Judith is his daughter, right?
Yeah, I
And she
think
survived.
I think Carol was watching over her for a while, and then Rick like sacrificed himself.
Okay, I guess. All right. Yeah, in the comic, Judith never lived past like 2 days or 3 days. She died as a baby. Or
Oh
maybe it
wow!
was like the day she was born, she died. The governor came and attacked the prison. But yeah, so I feel like that's one of the issues I had with the show, where it's just like I'm trying to base the show on what I'm watching, but they're throwing so much other shit at me. I'm like, wait, this doesn't make any fucking sense. But
I could
anyway,
see that though. It's like not even from a purest sense. It's just like they just completely making their own story up.
dude, like legit, man. But yeah, anyway, I'm watching it, and my thing with The Walking Dead, from when I was watching it, I remember it was this goes for the episode and the season. It's really hype beginning, kind of really dead in the middle, cliffhanger ending, move on. That's every episode, and then that's basically the season when you look at it. The season is like banger, slow, banger, wait. And this episode, I was like, they're gonna fucking follow this formula, aren't they? You go right in. Here we go. Rick, he's cutting off the hand. They're doing like, oh shit, shit's happening. Then I was bored for a very long time. At the very end, fucking helicopter crash. Let's go. Oh my god, Michonne's over here. I was like, okay, yep, that's it. Then we're doing it.
Spoiled.
Yeah, I mean the actors, I do like the actors in this. Except for the one guy, Okafor. He was just doing a Denzel Washington impression the whole time.
I felt like he was too young to have all that authority,
Yeah.
and also just to be that like strategic and the way he was going about it. I was like, that it needs to be a Denzel type person, a little
Yeah.
older, a little more like scruff on him. He was
Yeah.
mad
He was
fresh. He
crazy
looked
young. I
like
was
a
like, man, you call Rick
25-year-old.
Burr.
Like,
Like this is your elder right now. But the whole
happy
time I'm
birthday,
listening to his
Henry.
voice.
Okay.
Huh?
Happy birthday, Henry.
Oh, see, I didn't have the chat up.
He's
What's up,
in the
Henry? Happy
chat.
birthday. But yeah, and the whole time I was like, he's really trying to sound like Denzel right now. But
I'll
yeah,
put a
man.
case on all of ya.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, the show, like, it had its moments of entertainment. It was there. Story wise, I wasn't feeling it. We want you to infiltrate this to become the leader to do some. I guess. All right. I don't know. That was kind of like throwing me off. Like I said, the interesting stuff was at the beginning. You have Rick doing his thing, and at the very end, the helicopter crash. Oh my God, Michonne! Like all that was cool. Honestly, if I'm rating this on a scale like 10, I mean, just I give it maybe a 5 or a 6, just to be fair. That's where I'm at with it. But I mean, hey, I mean, I get it. If you're a fan of the series, this is the good version of that. So I understand where you're coming from 100%.
No,
Yeah.
I kind of totally understand what you're talking about too, because it kind of did feel like that.
Yeah.
It was like it started off strong. They kind of capture your attention because we've
Yep.
got short attention spans. Like, oh man, he's cutting his hand off.
Yep.
What are these magma zombies? What like it really just kind of haphazard. Like, what's happening? You kind of gotta get it like figure it out. And then when they did start like building this world building aspect, they like took a whole like they shifted gears down, and I understand that too, because it's like you got to explain like, oh, this whole habitat, this civilization that they're hiding, and there's a very strict no people could leave, and they had to like kind of hammer that out. I don't see an exciting way to really convey that, and they try to
I mean, they could show us.
They try to pull your emotional tug strings, because it's like Rick just constantly trying to get back to Michonne and love and his babies and all that stuff, and you see his like willpower being tested. He's like at limit's end. I feel like all throughout the episode, he's like, should I just kill myself, or should I just like really just like, is it worth it? Are they even alive? This and that. You kind of see those internal stripes, and I enjoyed that for the most part. And I also kind of really liked the bond he had with
Rey Mysterio.
Pearl Thorne. Her name is Pearl Thorne. The one that I just mentioned, Leslie Ann Brandt from
Yeah.
Lucifer. The New Zealand chick. I kind of like yeah, they're definitely not living. Rudy said they ain't living, and
Thank you, Rudy.
they're hostages in there pretty much. But at the same time, you really got to look at the perspective of all the people out in the real world. They're just dying and like barely living either. So in this one, at least there's kind of safety and there's food and you don't have to worry. So I understand that aspect, but it's kind of interesting the premise that they have this like secret town. There are some discrepancies, like when Oaken, whatever his name, like was
Okafor.
bombing Okafor when he was bombing other towns, and he didn't bomb this one. He killed his wife. Spoilers. I don't know. It's like a little like I guess like I said before, I don't really like his character. I don't feel like the actor fit it. Maybe if it was somebody else, he could have conveyed it different. But I just felt like it was that's one weak point I would say in the show for me at least. But overall, I did like Lincoln. Rick's story. He's just really just trying to get out, and they're not letting him. And
that was the thing. A lot of the show, I'm like, who the fuck's he trying to get back to? Because I was so lost at this point. I was like, okay, I don't think they haven't mentioned Andrea once, but he has this thing with Michonne. Is it Michonne? I was like, wait, no, I think Judith is alive. Is he talking about Judith? Like, who the fuck is he talking about? And I was like, is it Carl? I was like, no, I thought Carl died in the show, or maybe he didn't. Like the whole time, just like, what the fuck?
And then they had like throughout the episode the random like conversations where he's just like almost like in normal life, and he sees Michonne's character.
Michonne,
that was kind of throwing me off too. I was like, what? Is that like
at that point? I didn't even let that confuse me. I had too much other shit going on. I was like, you know what? Okay,
whole slew. But they also had man, I'm forgetting his name. It was a Cholo Fit dude. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I keep saying Rey Mysterio. It was dude looked and sounded like Rey Mysterio. Like if you ever seen Rey without the mask, it was similar to this guy.
I never seen that, but yeah, he's hilarious. And every time I saw him, he was like, "Oh, Cholo Fit," you do a little like, yeah, he has this whole segment like it's hilarious, and I could not unsee that. But overall, it didn't take too much away from me. But yeah, and then they had Locke, like I said, he just showed up. He was like a commander, high rank, and so I'm really curious to see how he fits into the show. I would rather see. Well, spoilers. I'm glad that they killed Okafor at the end in the helicopter. So I really think Locke is going to come in. His name is Beale, I guess, in the show, according to this. So I feel like he's going to be that next person in charge that Rick has to kind of. Or maybe Rick and Michonne have to deal with because spoilers, at the end, there was like a cliffhanger where at this point, Rick kind of is accepting Okafor's deal. He's rising up the ranks in that military aspect, and he learned how to fly a helicopter. And so in that scene, he's flying a helicopter. They're doing their rounds. They're I think Omaha was it, like got destroyed. So they're kind of rebuilding it. And eventually he gets hit with like a armor-piercing rocket that lands right in Okafor during this crazy conversation they're having, and I was surprised. I was like, "What the hell just happened? What is that?" And then you see like a huge missile in him, which I don't think would have happened. I think the missile just went through him, and to the back. How hard is Okafor's chest? But that's little things. That's little movie magic that I just kind of like got to brush over.
You sound like Eslam now. You gotta calm down.
For the cinematic purpose, I see what it was. It's just they're having this deep conversation, and you kind of have to, like you said, at the end they have to have that little cliffhanger moment. That was it. So, but for me, I think it was good because they killed like the weakest point in the show point for me at least, and so I thought that was cool. And then just to kind of just walk you through it, spoilers, they crash landed. Somehow nobody died or like nobody got seriously injured except Oakford. So all his little armies coming out, and then all of a sudden you see from Rick's point of view, it's kind of disheveled camera. You don't really know what's going on, but you just kind of see somebody stabbing people with a sword. And then when push comes to shove, Michonne takes off Rick's mask, and he sees that it's Rick, and the helmet, and it's Rick, and it's like, oh, they have this kind of pause, cliffhanger moment, like, you're alive, I found you. And so my girl's dad watched the original series, and apparently in the last final or seasons, she found out that Rick was alive. I'm not sure how. So I
Yeah,
guess that's why her motivation to like destroy Omaha, to really like try, I guess, to find Rick. And so it was kind of interesting the way it unfolded. It was a surprise to me, I guess. I kind of thought they were going to find each other, but I didn't think it was going to be like that. So that was
yeah.
kind of
I was
interesting.
assuming I was expecting to see her at some point. Literally at the end. I mean, when you see somebody running around with the katana, I was like, okay. I mean, obvious at that point. But it
Yeah.
was just like I was like, all right, she's gonna pop up somewhere. I was like, I don't. And like I said, I'm just legit the whole time, just like Walking Dead formula cliffhanger. What is the cliffhanger? You know?
It definitely followed that. Definitely
Yeah.
followed that. But I like Michonne, played by Danae Gurira. I've always liked her.
Great character.
Even that samurai sword just gave her like such a badass energy. I always idolize her because I like swords and katanas, Japanese
Yeah.
lore and stuff. So just to even use that, I think it was just like such a cool zombie tool.
Did
And
she? This is sort of off topic. In the show, if you can remember, did she ever get captured by the governor?
this was way long
Yeah.
time ago. I remember.
In the comic, she did.
I
Yeah.
don't think she did. I think they were in the governor's town, and I remember they got like comfortable, and she had her sword like on a mantle, and she was kind of like just getting normalized into
Okay.
civilization. And somebody did get captured though. I don't remember who.
Okay.
Yeah, my memory's spotty, but this is
I
kind of
got
what
you.
I'm remembering. Uh,
Yeah.
but
And
she
the
did have to like eventually bust out the sword, and she took it off the mantle. And of course,
Rudy
she like
says
got
blonde
back
chick.
to
I mean, are you talking about Andrea? I know Andrea had some type of interaction
Maggie.
with the governor. Maggie's not
I know
blonde, is she?
Maggie.
Well, she might be in the show. I don't fucking
I
know.
think she's dirty blonde. I could be wrong.
Unless she has like dark hair. At least in the book, it was like black. Well, the whole book's black and white, but she had like black, like darker hair.
I
But
could be wrong.
in the comic, so Michonne gets caught and she's like being tortured. I think she's even like just tortured, like raped and shit by the governor and like all his people, and she's like chained up. She eventually escapes and fucking mutilates him to the point like he has no limbs. She cuts off like all his limbs and just leaves him left for dead. Um, Andrea and imply rape. Okay, so they did the same thing, but to Andrea. Yeah, because why change something that fucking works? But so yeah, and then when Michonne finally escapes, she fucking she destroys the governor and she fucking like basically sodomizes him, like shoves like this old spoon, like rusty spoon, like up his ass, and it's just fucking with his insides, uses the same spoon and scoops out his eyeball. Like Michonne went in. Like she fucking
That's that good ish.
and that's what I'm
They
saying. I was
didn't
like, The
show that
Walking
in the
Dead
show.
is like the show is like graphic. Okay. I'm like, okay, it sort of is. But when you fucking read the comic, nah, the comic is just like, yeah, the show is nowhere near that level of like the graphic and like the crazy shit that happens because you don't have TV ratings, to
Yeah.
deal with. But yeah, that's one thing I was curious because that was like one of the big things. Like Michonne, she first shows up, she's badass. She has like the zombie like guards that she chains up and she walks them to keep, and like that's cool as hell. But then when she does what she does to the governor, and then she just walks back, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, we thought you were dead." It's like, nah, but he is, and not knowing that she left him alive and they recovered him or they cured him or revived him, whatever. But yeah, no, just curious. Did you ever finish the Walking Dead show? Did the Walking Dead show end?
I believe it did.
Okay,
I didn't finish it.
okay,
As I mentioned earlier, once Rick died, I kind of just fell off.
okay. Yeah, because there's it's funny because like the ending of the book can't be done. So I was just curious to see if what because everybody that left the show or got killed off and everything. It's just like the book eventually does end. It ended a few years ago, like right before COVID hit, I think. And
Yeah.
I remember reading that, and I was like, "Oh man, this is it was an interesting ending." The book kind of fell off towards the end, but it was still interesting. And I was just like, "What happens there?" I was like, "It can't happen in the book." Like, I mean, in the show because like they killed off all the people. So I'm very curious to see how the show ended. I was
They're
I
gonna
was going to ask you.
piece it together with a whole new cast. Like,
I mean,
but
yeah,
honestly, they made all these like side Walking Dead shows. What is it? The Dead City has Maggie and Negan. They got Daryl and yeah, I'm blanking on the black guy, but he crossed over to the kid one, the guy with the staff. Morgan.
Okay, yeah, I know Morgan. I was saying,
Um,
it's like I know Morgan in the comic. I was like, what the fuck is Morgan in the show? I'm just very curious. Like,
he he went crazy. People weren't trusting him, and then
yeah,
eventually, I think he did get the respect, but then he just left, and he appeared in the show with the kids. I forget. I'm blanking on what that one's called though.
okay, yeah. Morgan in the book, they find he doesn't go crazy. He's just crazy when they find him. They go back to Rick's house or whatever, his neighbor's house. They bring
Mhm.
Morgan back, and he has a son chained up who turned into a zombie. Like, listen, you can't do this. So they kill off or he's supposed to kill his son. He doesn't. He just lets his son roam free as a zombie. He joins them, and then he has this weird obsession with Carl, where he even calls Carl Dwayne, which was his son's name. And then
Yeah,
it gets to a point where like they feel really uncomfortable with him, and eventually they get to the point where it's like we don't know if we could trust him because he's insane. Eventually,
yeah.
he sacrifices himself, I think, to save Carl, and that's how he dies. But he wasn't around in the book for that long.
I
And of
think
course, in the show,
they
yeah,
did kind of follow that formula, but
okay,
I don't think he died. I think
okay.
just like I said, he went to another show.
That's what you said. You know the guy with the staff, Morgan. I was like, when the fuck did Morgan? I was like, Morgan never had a fucking staff. I was like, I just don't know with this show, man. I really don't know anymore.
They just like let's just take a little bit of Fear of the
Yeah,
Walking Dead.
Fear the
Yeah,
Walking Dead. I saw the
he did.
first
Yeah,
episode of that. I remember when it first came out. I was like, "This is a cool concept. We're gonna see the beginning of the thing." And I saw like half an episode. I was like, "Fuck this! I'm out. I can't." But yeah, no, the comic. Do you want me to tell you what happens at the end of the comic? Because it is interesting. I guess there could be
yeah.
spoilers.
Spoilers to everybody, but yeah, I'm totally interested in that
Spoilers to
actually.
everybody. But hey, if you watch the show and you don't read the comic, then don't worry. This is never gonna happen. But
They're gonna like barely resemble it. It's gonna be all random. It's gonna have
yeah.
Rick and
So,
Michonne because clearly those everybody likes, and it's gonna be all random new
oh
cast.
yeah. So if I remember correctly, they eventually go to this. They meet this city, which is very much good. Like it's like everything's good. They have like restaurants and cafes. They have like a whole like a military force that protects them. Eventually, Eugene he talks to them over the radio. He becomes friends with somebody there. They go and they visit. I'm like, oh, this is real cool. And they have like a mayor or some lady who like runs the town, and she has like the spoiled son who's just like, hey, I'm a douchebag, but my mom's in charge of the town, so I'm cool. Look at me. And basically Rick at this point, Rick is like all types of fucked up. He's like, okay, it's like I see you guys do this, you guys do that. Okay, I know how we could fix everything. I'm gonna fucking take over this entire civilization. And everyone's like, no, Rick, they're good. Like, don't fuck it up. They're okay. But yeah, so like that's his plan or whatever, and he's doing it for the right reasons because there is corruption and everything in the city. Eventually, what happens is her stupid son, fucking kills Rick, and yeah, and it was just like you think Rick survives everything that's happened in the book, all these things. He lost a hand, the governor, everybody, and the person who kills him is just some fucking snot nosed like punk.
Wow,
And it was
that's
just like,
crazy.
wow. It's just like, yeah. So it's like, and that's the thing. It's like he shoots Rick in like the end of like one issue, like towards the end of the series, and I think Rick might have been in prison or something like that. And it's just like, oh my god, is Rick gonna die? Like Rick, he's not gonna die. And then they get to the point where you see him turn into a zombie and everything. It's like, oh fuck,
Oh wow, he's
yeah.
dead.
So
Dead. I
yeah,
feel like they did that. I'm not sure. I think he's with the governor. Like I said, I haven't seen it in years. Like probably when it first came out. But like,
yeah.
I kind of remember that premise where I think when he was with the governor, there was like, it was like, I'm not sure if it was with the governor, but he definitely got to a civilization. Like, and then it was normal. Like people were safe. But
Oh, you're
Rick with his
talking about
PT,
not
Rick with
Jackson. I
his
forgot what it's called. Yeah.
PTSD, he like was just like, we gotta. These people aren't trained. They gotta train, and
Yep.
we gotta enforce these walls. We gotta exactly like you're saying. He's
Yeah.
just like caught up to living outside that they're just like Rick, like we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
And he's just like, no, no, and just wilding out. And I think he did like kill somebody that was from the town, and they kind of like it kind of was like a turning point for Rick, which was like, oh, he's lost it.
Was that
And
around the time that Carl got shot in the eye?
I think it was after that, for sure after that.
Okay, yeah, because
Um,
that was in the book. That's the town where they end up settling at, and that's like their town. And then they build. That's where eventually they meet Negan. and he's in another neighboring town and stuff like that. But yeah, he goes in there. They have like a president or some shit like that, and same thing. He's like, we got to take over. And then there's one point where he's like, listen, you guys aren't ready. You're not prepared. We're gonna take over just to protect everybody here. And eventually, what's it called? The big horde? Is it a horde?
Yeah, super horde.
Yeah. So one of those,
I think it's something like that. They call it super horde. Or
one of those comes by and it's just like, oh fuck, they're not ready, and like the walls come down, everything, and the president dude, he loses his mind, and he's just like, fuck it, we're all gonna die anyway. He's just shooting like crazy, and then one of the shots goes right into Carl's eye. I remember that it's like one full page on the back of the comic. It's just like he's like, Dad, and then it's like you see half his face is missing, and it ends, which is the Walking Dead formula. You have to end on a cliffhanger. But
they get it from.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, in the show, so that happens. I mean, in the comic. And then they do a time jump many, many years later. Carl is this adult bearded man. And he lives on this house just by himself. He lives with Sophie or Sophia, who, if I remember correctly, died in season 2 of the show. She was in Herschel's farm in the barn. I was like, why the fuck are you killing her? Like, she obviously lasts to the end of the fucking book, and they killed her in season 2. But
I could see how the show would be triggering for people. It's just like you have like a timeline it's a show, that a comic graphic novel that's amazing, and you're just gonna be like, well, this isn't that good. Let's do this.
Not only that, like Rudy just talked about here with Andrea. Rick marries Andrea. Carl calls her mom. and that's the thing, because Daryl doesn't exist in the comic. But guess what? Andrea is Daryl. She is like the one. She's the badass. She's the sniper. She's like, you don't fuck with her. She's the best fighter out there. It's like her and Michonne. Like, Michonne's his right-hand man. Andrea is his wife, the mother of Carl, but can fucking protect anyone from anybody. She's the sharpshooter in the group. And then you have everybody else. One other thing I wanted to mention real quick. You said Maggie's in a show with Negan?
Yeah. They
in this universe, did he not kill what's his face?
It's called Dead City. He killed Glenn, yeah, he killed Glenn.
Why the fuck are they together in a show?
If they're not together. I saw Maggie went her own way, and she was looking for her son. The premise is she's looking for her son, and I forget where. I think at Chicago or something. I don't know exactly where, but she ends up meeting Negan. He's like a mercenary. He kind of takes up like a surrogate daughter and kind of like lives for her now. Okay. And but he's they end up meeting and having to work together. They're not like together, but they're just together in the show. Okay. So yeah.
Okay, I got you. I'm okay now.
I don't know.
You said that and I was triggering.
She's like, no.
Like, eventually, I don't know if she forgives him or not, but Negan does have a redemption arc in the comic, but he kind of just leaves the group. And he's like, hey, I'm off doing my own thing. I'm going to leave. And then he kind of just rides off into the sunset. She's looking for her son, and Negan knows the people who took him from his past. Thank you, Rudy. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, the Walking Dead comic, the Walking Dead Telltale series. That's it. That's it for me.
Yep. The worst one was Walking Dead Into the Beyond. That's the one I keep mentioning with the kids. Morgan didn't go to that one. He was right. He went to Fear the Walking Dead, which is a whole nother show. But the Into the Beyond was the one where they follow a bunch of kids kind of navigating the zombie world, and they're pretty innocent, and they go out and they learn how vicious it can be. And I actually didn't even finish it because it was I don't like shows with kids for some reason. It just felt like it was like
I understand where you're coming from.
They just didn't have like synergies. Just that they're just too kiddish.
That's why I like the Telltale series. Like, if you ever get the chance,
that's the anthology one.
No, so Telltale, it's not an anthology. Yeah, no, it takes place in the same town, more or less, where the show or the comic or whatever it's based on. I think it's the same universe as the comic, the game. But you're playing as this guy Lee, who was supposed to get arrested, and zombie apocalypse happens. He's in the back of a cop car, car accident. He escapes. He finds this little girl who's stuck in this treehouse because her parents are in Savannah, and her babysitter turned into a zombie. So he rescues this girl, meets up with the group. Glenn's in there. He actually meets Glenn. I think he meets her. Yeah, he eventually goes to Herschel's farm before Rick does. So all the people that are like in the barn and shit. He meets like some of the people before they turn to zombies, like Herschel's family that he puts in the barn. He actually met them when they're still alive. This guy Lee, and then they kind of go from there. Spoilers for the game. Lee doesn't make it, but you play as the little girl. Wow, I forgot her name. But anyway, and then you go to different seasons where you're following her story. Eventually, she gets a little bit older, and a group that she's with, they have a baby, and now her job is like, hey, I need to make sure he's safe, he's okay, just like Lee did for me. And there's one part where she meets like this one like school or whatever, where it's a bunch of kids like her age, more or less, that are like, hey, we're surviving and we're just doing what we can. But yeah, man, it's a really good comic. I mean, really good book, really good game that you really need to you should get
it's
on
really
that.
good.
Yeah. And there's a Michonne one too. There's like a spin-off one that's just all about Michonne with like 4 different episodes. It's pretty good.
There's the Tales of the Walking Dead, which is like an anthology series I saw a while ago, and it drew me in because it had Terry Crews. Terry Crews is one of the episodes. He's just jacked, and it was kind of silly at some points. He made like a solar powered motorcycle. I'm like, really? Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, that's kind of cool, but really?
That's one of the things that always got me, especially with Daryl. Like Daryl's a cool character, uses a crossbow, genius. He also drives the loudest vehicle.
He does.
Like I was like, hey, I'm real stealthy, I'm real cool, nobody can see me, but you can hear me coming anywhere. I was like, yeah, okay, thanks, Daryl. That's smart.
For real.
Terry Crews plays a former pro football player in the post-apocalypse. As
he's looking for his wife, and then he meets this other lady that's looking for her husband, and then eventually he gets caught up in this lady's like bunker, and she's batshit crazy, and like kind of like woos him in, and then eventually like traps him and tries to kill him. But of course he doesn't die, and eventually the other lady comes and helps. Saves the day. And my thing at the end of that show, that episode, was like, why did they stay at that bunker? It looked like they had everything set there, all the food, they were closed off, they had cameras, but like him and the girl were like, no, let's just keep going. I'm like, I would have stayed. What? But so that was kind of an interesting one, but they definitely had a lot of crazy series, a lot of different series.
And real quick, Rudy did say the name of the girl from the Walking Dead game, Clementine. She's the main protagonist in that series. Clementine. Really, I mean, Disco, you'd really like those games. You should definitely give that a shot. You can play it. I mean, it's been around for forever. You can probably get it all. You probably get the entire series like really cheap on like PS4 or something, or even Xbox if you want.
Steam.
Steam as well. It's everywhere. As a matter of fact, do you have Game Pass?
Yeah, actually, I do have Game Pass.
I think I could be. I know the Michonne ones are on Game Pass. I think the Telltale series, it's seasons 1 through 4. I'm pretty sure they're all on Game Pass. So you probably, when you have to buy anything, just pop that up and you're good.
Yeah, I gotta check. I haven't been on Game Pass in a while, but yeah, I used to go on my laptop, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, definitely recommend that. But yeah, do you have anything else to say about The Ones Who Live? Horrible name, by the way.
Yeah, so. Could have done better.
Walking Dead. Which one is it? It's the ones that live. That one.
Don't they all die? Like, doesn't wait, was Michonne a character in the graphic novel?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. She was bad. I remember I told her she.
What happens to her?
I don't remember her ever dying. I think she goes to this new that new city where Rick gets killed, and I think they're like, hey, you used to be a lawyer. We need a lawyer. She's like, bet.
I'm your gal.
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah, no, she was great, but yeah, that's what I was saying. Remember, she did all that shit to the governor in the comic. Like,
yeah,
great.
Oh yeah, you did say this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Final thoughts about this. We usually went on a tangent on all the Walking Dead.
We legit just did.
I liked it. I liked it because it's like you're knowledgeable in the to an extent on the graphic novel, so you got to kind of see like all the crazy little changes, and like it's a purist nightmare pretty much. They really changed everything. Like, oh man, but I thought that was fun. I enjoyed the episode, and my last impression on the show. I pretty much liked it. I'm curious where they're gonna go with it. I totally understand where Danny's coming from because they do have that little formula. It was like a very actiony, for the ADHD people in the beginning. It's like a lot of stuff going on, and then the middle kind of like slows down, and then like at the end it definitely picks up again, and then they end on a cliffhanger. So they're definitely following that. But overall, like I originally said, compared to the other new ones like the Daryl, the Dead City, the World Beyond, this one I think is one of the better kind of spin-off series. Even though Rick and Michonne, they just I feel like the TV show people just like those characters, so they're just like we're gonna take it and roll with it. And overall, it is still a fun experience for me. I love zombies and I love just being in that mindset, and I think I could take a super horde on. So.
There you go. Yeah. No, yeah. For me, I mean, I know there's a lot of people who are probably like me, where it's just like, hey, the comic book's great. Fuck the show. This, that. They need to stop making the shows. I don't feel that way with it. I was like, hey, man, there's a lot of people that enjoy the shows. Hey, go out there and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not stopping you from it. It's not bothering me any. You can make as many as you want. Do the Dead City, the Ones Who Live, Return of the King, The Last Jedi. Do all the Walking Dead. Do all the ones you need to do. Go for it. But yeah, I mean,
Return of the Negan.
yeah, at the end of the day, it is, hey, they want to make money, and obviously they're making money if they keep on making more and more shows. So, more power to them. Robert Kirkman, man's a fucking genius. He created The Walking Dead, but before that, he created Invincible. So it's like this man is just bangers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he knows what he's
Hard
doing.
enough to make one show. This guy's got two out there that, man, I can't wait for that second part of Invisible. Ooh.
Oh, dude.
Man,
I'm looking forward to it. As a matter of fact, with the game, am I working? My thing's fucking up. Am I good?
You're good.
All right.
At least for
In the game, so the Telltale is the company that was making the game. They did seasons 1 through 3, and because they were pumping out way too many games at once that weren't selling at the level that they needed to, they had to shut the company down before they finished doing episode 4. Robert Kirkman steps up and he's just like, hey, his company bought the video game rights, and he brought some of the staff on. I was like, okay, finish the game. So like, shout out to Robert Kirkman. I mean, it was four was the best game's obviously the first one, but hey, man, he gave people jobs. And this is a story that us, the fans that are playing the games, we wanted to see, okay, what's Clementine's story? We know it's going to end here. It's the final chapter. How do we end the story? So shout out to Robert Kirkman at the end of the day.
It's cool that he kind of like put his own money down, like his own company. Because I know a lot of people, and it's like when it comes to their own finances, like, oh no, but he really is passionate. You could tell he's passionate about the project, and he's really just trying to get it out there for the masses. Whether
and like that company legit makes games still. Like it wasn't just a one-off. It's just like his company owns the fucking video game.
Oh yeah, so it's like a legit studio, or
it's Skybound. Skybound, that's the name of his like company. So Skybound is the company under Image Comics that makes The Walking Dead, and they make these games too. Yeah, man. So shout out to Kirkland.
I wonder if he makes anything new. It's probably gonna be a banger too.
Hey, I hope so. I mean, Rudy, if you're still here, you can correct me, but I want to say that they should be the team that's working on Fables 2. Is it Fables? I forget what it's called, but it's the first thing they did that kind of put that company on the track before they did Actually, no, it was right after Walking Dead. It was the second thing. It was another comic book property that they followed, and it was a big hit where it takes place in the real world. It's based off a comic. It takes place in the real world, but it's based off of fairy tale characters. So you're playing as Bigsby, who's actually the big bad wolf, who's a detective, who's trying to figure out like these other, characters are getting killed, and they're living in this one suburb of New York, or this one section where it's filled with all these fairy tale characters, but they're like hidden. So it's like Beauty and the Beast live there, but the Beast is taking some type of like this kind of like drug to make himself look human, so he doesn't look like a beast all the time. Thank you, The Wolf Among Us. Thank you. And Wolf Among Us is based off the Fables comic. That's what it is. So I'm pretty sure that's the studio that's making Wolf Among Us 2, if that ever comes out.
Wolf Among Us, Fable 2. 2008 action role-playing open world video game developed by
Well,
Lionhead
that's Fable.
Studio.
That's a different game
Whole
series.
different thing.
Completely different thing.
Oh, you're talking about Wolf Among Us? I thought you said.
The comic book, I'm pretty sure, is called Fables. But there's a separate video game that's called Fable. That's like an Xbox thing. That's a completely different.
Oh, okay.
It's like an open world RPG.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Not bad. Hey, play Fable. Go for it.
Telltale Games Ad Hoc Studio. Gotcha.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, that's all I got. But yeah, with that being said, I think we're good. We're gonna cut this, and this is more or less around the time that we're doing. So we did good.
That was like a
we're
normal
not too
episode.
bad. Yeah. Rudy, thank you for all the interaction. Thank you for the stuff when we couldn't remember. You're in there. Appreciate it. You spelled fear wrong, but I'm not gonna hold that against you.
Hey, he was there. He knew what we were talking about. And
absolutely.
I love having people in the chat. It's always fun to interact.
Exactly.
So, kudos. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure.
That and Henry, once again, happy birthday. Enjoy your blessings. Okay. Calm down.
Yeah.
But once again, Henry, thank you for being there. Birthday shout out like always. But we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna end this episode. Call it here, and
just a little plug, I guess. Next week we are probably gonna cover Avatar. So if anybody's got this far, tune in. We're gonna have Eslam here, and of course Danny. They love the Avatar, so I'm curious to see how they felt about the show. I saw it too, and I'm kind of curious. I want to share my thoughts too, so I'm looking forward to next episode.
I finished the whole series. Just one quick note on that. Not next week. Week after.
Yeah, next episode. I'm sorry.
No, we're good. I just don't want everybody to be like, you said you were going to talk about this. And Rudy, I'm going to tell you right now, not the blue bitches. No, we're talking about the one true Avatar. We talking about the Last Airbender. That blue people. What's his name? The guy that makes that.
M. Night Shyamalan.
No. Fuck him. I'm talking about like the blue people Avatar. What's his name?
Oh man. He made Titanic. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. James Cameron. Yes.
Fucking
overrated motherfucker. My God. If there's somebody who gets so much credit he does not deserve, it's him. There's nobody that gets more love than James Cameron, who should not be getting that love. This man goes out here and knows how to make some mediocre shit. He did Titanic. I'll give you that. If it was him, I'm not even 100% sure on that, Disco. I think you're right, but I'm not 100% sure. But with that being said, he ain't done shit else. He ain't done nothing worth talking about. Maybe Terminator 2. Maybe Terminator 2, and I think that's it. He gave us Aliens. Who the fuck's out here talking about, the aliens? Yes, aliens. They got one good movie in that series, bro.
The Terminator, he did make Terminator.
Terminator 1's all right.
He did make Titanic.
I will shit on everything else on that list.
Aliens, The Abyss. He's got a couple things.
No.
He made True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back.
Yeah.
But he made Alita Battle Angel. He made a movie about piranhas. Yeah. But anyway, like that. Fuck James Cameron.
Yeah, no, man. Give me a chance. I could do what he did. I could fucking make these movies.
He made Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh man, I actually like that one though. Rambo 2.
You see the thing? He did Rambo 2. I love Sylvester Stallone. You guys know I love Rocky. We did a whole thing. I was pushing for years to do a whole Rocky episode. We did it. And I'll be the first to tell you that Rambo series, that First Blood series, fucking trash. Trash.
I believe it. All right,
so I'm gonna call it there. I was ready to talk shit about The Walking Dead. It turned into me talking shit about James Cameron.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
That was a pleasant turn of events because fuck James Cameron.
Yeah, I can't. But anyway, we're gonna call it here. Everybody who was here, thank you. Everybody who's watching later on, thank you. As always, remember to go ahead, follow us on our social medias right there in the bottom. I'm going to let that sit there for a second. And then you're going to go ahead and make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment below, do all that good stuff, interact with us so we can interact with you. And as always, you can go to loswiseguys.com, see everything we got going on there, including the LWG FVGL S4 Season 4, which I'm projected to win, just saying. But
okay, never go off of projections. Fourth quarter killer.
Never go off of projections. It's not safe. So be sure to do all that stuff. Follow us everywhere. Look at all our stuff everywhere. And don't forget twitch.tv/LosWiseGuys where you can interact with us live like Henry did, like Rudy did. So with that being said, I bid you all adieu. Thank you, and have a good night.
Peace out.